BiomedRx Optimum Woman is the only woman's high-potency full-spectrum multiple vitamin supplement to contain 56 nutrients, including those most important for today's woman, such as calcium for bone health, iron for healthy red blood cells, beta-carotene, biotin for nail and hair health, gamma-linoleic acid for healthy vein primrose oil, octasanol, grapeseed extract, a potent antioxidant important for maintaining capillary strength, and vegetarian digestive enzymes. Visit www.biomedrxsupplements.com.
Gold label quality BiomedRx CBD oil is made from organic hemp that is locally grown, glyphosate-free, gluten-free, non-GMO, homogenized, third-party tested, and CO2 extracted. Visit www.biomedrxcbd.com.
Hi, this is Devin Lockett, the president of JobSite Route. As the son of a general contractor, I know how difficult it can be to get good food on the job site. And letting your construction workers leave the job site to buy lunch just takes valuable time away from them being on the site. I've developed an app and a program that will bring a steady stream of food trucks to your job sites every month for the low price of only $100 per month per site. That comes up to about $3 per day to have a steady stream of food trucks coming to your job sites all day, every working day. You can also contact the food trucks ahead of time and pre-order your food from the menu on our app. This saves valuable time for your construction workers and for you. It also sends a variety of delicious food served on Southern California food trucks to your job sites all day. When you think about it, it only makes sense to join the JobSite Route Network.
Hey, hello, good morning. How's everybody doing? It is 10:51 here on the West Coast. I should be working out, but since my son gets out of school today at 1, I guess I can wait a couple of hours and entertain you guys for a minute. And because he owes me a bench press day, Last time we left off, that was the workout that we needed, and today is bench press day for me, coincidentally, all over again. So wait for my son until 1 o'clock. Now, a lot of people tell me, hey man, when you're doing this YouTube thing, just be yourself, right? And I get it, I dig it, right? Being myself doesn't necessarily, I don't know. You're gonna have to make up your own mind where you stand on my being myself. But here I am being myself. I'm going to share with you an experience that I'm going through, that I'm having, that I'm putting myself through, called the Gateway Experience. The Gateway Experience was developed by the Monroe Institute. The Monroe Institute is something that you guys should see online. You can actually go to the Monroe Institute channel here on YouTube, and you can find out a lot about the work of Mr. Bob Monroe, the inventor of binaural beats. And you can also find a video that I created on BiomedRx TV about binaural beats that talks about Mr. Bob Monroe and the concept behind binaural beats. To make a long story short, basically, binaural beats are the process of inducing brainwave states by playing different frequencies of sounds in the left and right ear separately. So that means you're going to have good headphones that cover your ears and to prevent sound from crossing from one ear to the other. It's best to use noise canceling headphones. I have a good pair of Bose 700 headphones. They're great for this process. And you should listen to the audio files that were developed by Bob Monroe and by the Monroe Institute. Now, the Monroe Institute was the brainchild of Mr. Robert Monroe. He used to work for the government, from what I understand, and he ended up when he discovered the concept behind binaural beats. He ended up developing different cocktails of binaural beats that could enable people to do specific jobs or specific sports, or any type of task with great efficiency and accuracy and expertise. In other words, he could give you audio tones that you could listen to, and they would actually make you better at a particular sport or at a particular job. Well, in this process, he stumbled upon the out-of-body experience. He stumbled upon developing the ability to induce an out-of-body experience at will using sound, using binaural beats. Okay, so we can induce a 10 hertz alpha, 5 hertz delta, delta, 7 hertz theta, 20 hertz beta, 25 hertz high beta, 30 hertz or above, and gamma. You can induce all of these states, and I highly recommend getting HemiSync. That's what it's called, HemiSync audio files from the Monroe Institute. Now, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, comment, share the video, right? And let me know how good I'm doing here if you appreciate what I'm doing. Where was I? Okay. The Gateway Experience are the audio files that are designed to train you to reach an out-of-body experience at will and repeatedly. There is a classification of spy and cop that is known as a remote viewer. Some people develop the ability to become a remote viewer by listening to the Gateway files, listening to the Gateway tapes. And they are able to help the police. They were able to help the military. They were able to do espionage. They're literally able to leave their body like a ghost at will and go through walls and go into places where they're not supposed to be, listen to conversations that they're not supposed to be listening to. Okay, spying, basically spying from outside. This is remote viewers. These are probably the most powerful spies that we have, espionage officers that we have out in the field. Okay, Russia has them, we have them, and I'm probably sure China has them as well. We have a number of remote viewers that are actually working and actively proving their ability to induce an out-of-body experience. Okay, now I've had the gateway audio files in my possession for several years, I must admit, and up until a couple of years ago, I was basically afraid. I was afraid to use them. I was afraid to listen to them. I was afraid to even think about it. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, I started listening to them, and me and my son. Now, I didn't train, which means I didn't listen to them frequently in close interval the way I do neurofeedback and the way I do the other brain training therapies here at the BiomedRx Health Center. I have to admit, I did not do that. I did practice it long enough to actually start seeing some pretty strange things happening, right? Anomalous type of occurrences would happen. For example, someone would come to me and tell me, hey, I had a conversation about you yesterday, and I could immediately envision the conversation, the room, and all of the other people that were in the room with the person that was talking about me. I experienced what is called a thought bubble, which is what you're going to find out here. I'm going to read about this in a minute. A thought bubble, which is where you suddenly receive just a blessing of knowledge, just a lot of knowledge that you didn't have before, or maybe you had it and you didn't have confidence in your ability to access it. I'm not sure what it is, but you definitely experience a thought bubble. I found myself being able to remember things that I didn't even know that I'd had committed to memory. I was able to access things simply because I had been exposed to them at one point or another in my life. It's kind of like the movie Limitless, right? Bradley Cooper, one of my favorite movies, by the way, because I am a mind guy. I'm a brain guy and a mind guy, and I really like to learn about people maximizing their human potential, maximizing their mental potential. Well, which is what we're all about here at the BiomedRx Health Center. Well, where was I going with that? When you experience this thought bubble, okay, you're going to find that, like I said, hidden knowledge seems to appear right before your eyes. It just seems to come to you. And also, you tend to change. You get a transformation in the way you view yourself and the way you view epistemology, right? The way you view learning and your understanding of epistemology. Which is the science of learning, or how we learn. This is to say that, excuse the feedback. This is to say that when you are in the gateway experience, when you go through the gateway experience, you will make a shift. I consider myself a rational objectivist, right? I'm really into the philosophy of rational objectivism as codified by the author Ayn Rand. And in rational objectivism, our understanding of objectivist epistemology is that man is born a clean slate. Man and women, people are born a clean slate, a tabula rasa. And you fill your mind, your brain, with knowledge through life, through the input of your five senses, either through your direct experience or through learned experiences that you receive from others who are teachers to you, right? And this is the way we learn. Well, once you experience at least a little bit, the introduction to the gateway experience, you're going to find that So
even superheroes and supermodels need a daily dose of nutrients to help make life more super. BiomedRx Supplements is making it easy to get exactly what you need. From kids to seniors, they've got something for everyone. Pretty cool, right? Check out their products at biomedrxsupplements.com.
like I said, when you go through the gateway experience, you're going to find that the mind is a computer, but it is a computer that is online. In other words, your brain is connected to an infinite reservoir of knowledge that exists out in the world. This kind of brings up questions about consciousness and what the nature of consciousness is. If, a lot of people say, I can't fit all of the experiences and knowledge that I've encountered in my life inside my cranium because the package is simply too small, right? So a lot of people believe that consciousness is actually something that's residing around you more than inside of you, or around you and inside of you and through you, okay? But it's very interesting the way that works, because you will find yourself, once you open up your mind through the intense levels of focus that you receive in the binaural beats of the gateway experience, you will find yourself having access to wisdom and knowledge that you never expected to have access to. And that's all I'm going to say on that. But we're going to go over the documents, the official documents that come with it. Now, why am I going over this right now? In 1983, the year that I went into the United States Air Force, 1983, the government decided to investigate the Monroe Institute and the Gateway process. So they actually assigned some soldiers and airmen. I don't know, maybe there were a couple of sailors and Marines in there too. I don't know. But they assigned troops to go to the Monroe Institute and actually work with Bob Monroe and to come back with information about what the hell this gateway process is all about. Well, they did that. And that's another document that I'm going to be reviewing with you later on in this video. Okay? But first, before we do anything, let's go ahead and transition to the other screen. All right? Yeah, nice new music and everything, right? So thank you for coming over here with me. Now, as you can see, what we have here in the center is the Gateway Experience Manual. There is a manual that comes with the Gateway Experience in order to help you kind of guide you through it and kind of give you an understanding of what the hell you're going to be listening to and what's going on. But this is the book that was published by the Monroe Institute for people who decided to purchase the Gateway Experience. And I'm not going to read the whole thing to you because it's just it's very long, and it's something that you should get. By the way, if anyone would like to experience this process of jumping out of your own body like a ghost, the out-of-body experience without drugs, feel free to call me here at the BiomedRx Health Center. The number is 424-204-2382, and you can also meet us here at 751 West Foothill Boulevard on Route 66 here in Upland, California. We're at the corner of Foothill Boulevard and San Antonio Avenue. And I will take you through this process with me, okay? So, as we see here, the Monroe Institute, copyrighted in 1989, the Gateway Experience is a system of training and personal development. It is not a form of psychotherapy, philosophy, religion, or medical diagnosis or treatment. It is a means to acquire knowledge. The application and results thereof are solely the responsibility of the trainee. The Gateway Experience training series is sold for private use only. Any public or commercial use thereof without written consent of the Monroe Institute is strictly prohibited. Caution: these tapes must not be used while driving Use only with your doctor's permission if you are taking psychotropic medication or engaged in therapy. Your doctor may call your professional division with any questions. Do not use tapes with any indication of epilepsy. It's very important because people can actually be given epilepsy through a shock or a scare, believe it or not. Okay? He gives you an affirmation that it is suggested that you say to yourself in the beginning of every gateway training session, right? And this is it. I am more than my physical body. Because I am more than physical matter, I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world. Therefore, I deeply desire to expand, to experience, to know, to understand, to control, to use such greater energies and energy systems as may be beneficial and constructive to me and to those who follow me. Also, I deeply desire the help and cooperation, the assistance, and the understanding of those individuals whose wisdom, development, and experience are equal to or greater than my own. I ask their guidance and protection from any influence or any source that might provide me with less than my stated desires. Now, I'm going somewhere with this. I am not going to read all of this through. I'm just kind of showing you what's in here. All right, the powers of hemispheric synchronization. If I could, if I had the time to read it all to you, I would. But perhaps you can just take this image that I'm scrolling right now and then pause the video and on repeatedly, and you can read through it, right? All right. So this is very important to read. Very important to read. Yes, find a distraction-free environment. This is true. Okay, this is why it's good to have a neurofeedback clinic. Okay, and he goes through all of the different steps. Okay, focus 3, focus 10. Focus 10 state, your mind remains awake and alert. Your body is calmly, deeply, comfortably asleep. You will move into the state of total relaxation by first moving to focus 3, and then by letting various parts of your face and head progressively go limp and relax. This relaxation of your head will then flow into your brain, which will feel and understand such a state, and will in turn allow such relaxation to flow through your whole body. Move along with the instructions successively, focusing upon and then totally releasing each body part. Okay? To look with your closed eyes at your foot is a way to view it objectively. All right, so we're going to keep on going through. When you return to full waking reality, your body will be so equalized as to overcome all those things that might hinder or prevent it from being and giving its best mental, spiritual, and physical self. This is the beginning of the health affirmation that you will hear at the end of the exercises. It will help you balance your physical and non-physical energies. Know that the affirmation is working for you without effort on your part. Now, why am I going through this? Why am I putting myself through this? Well, I've been giving a lot to my children lately and to my family of origin lately, a lot of energy. I just lost my brother. I'm still in a state of mourning over my big brother, Aldine. Bless his soul, rest his soul in heaven. And, with the move into this new BiomedRx Health Center and a lot of, I'm just going to put it out there, a lot of money coming in from the biomedical engineering side of the business and from other things, that I just kind of got off track of doing my own neurofeedback. And I got off track of doing my own physical training, my own bodybuilding training in the gym. And so basically, I just recently, last month, May and now this month, June, decided to focus 100% on lifting weights, swimming, running, bicycling, hiking, and training my brain at the same time. So I'm focusing on peak performance physically as well as mentally. And my son, who starts his summer vacation tomorrow, is on this journey with me. So this is going to be fun. Now, I got to tell you, today's Wednesday. Yeah, it is Wednesday. I've been working out for, 2-3 weeks straight. And as you can see in my eyes, I am tired. And I've also been going through neurofeedback training every day. I am thoroughly shifted in 50 hertz. So that means that no matter where I train on my head, anywhere I connect the probes, no matter where I train, I signal, I trigger, boom, boom, boom. I hear the gongs. I trigger at 50 hertz, which is the highest frequency that you can get. And I'm doing hemispheric synchronization. I'm doing synchrony neurofeedback. So I'm training my brain. I'm training the two hemispheres of my brain to work together in synchrony. Okay, let me get a swig of water. That was a mouthful. Now, it is my theory that the work that I'm doing with neurofeedback, especially with synchrony neurofeedback, enables me or empowers me to be able to reach these levels of focus from the gateway experience more easily, because I'm actually training my brain and I have practice in making the hemispheres of my brain work together in synchrony. I'm also taking Ethereum gold, which is what you see here. This is also called monatomic gold, right? As you can see, it's made for the focused brain. It helps the two hemispheres of the brain work together and focus together. Okay, a little bit under the tongue, and then I wash it down with silver. That's right, silver and gold. Remember that Christmas special, right? Silver and gold. Okay. 1,000 parts per million silver with monatomic gold under the tongue. All right, so these supplements are very good for helping the brain work better, helping the hemispheres of the brain work more cohesively with each other. So now we're talking about what can happen, okay, when you actually accomplish these focus states. What can you do with this besides spying on people or maybe floating invisibly into the ladies' locker room at the gym and watching them in the shower or something like that? Before you go there, I want you to understand the things that you can do. First, let's talk about patterning. Power sticks abound in both in our history and mythology as links between human and spiritual forces, or as connectors between physical and non-physical energies. Moses turned his staff into a serpent. Kings, queens, pharaohs, and high priests carried symbolic maces and scepters. Excalibur led King Arthur into battle, and Merlin focused his power through a wand. Diana, the Roman goddess of the moon and of hunting, carried her bow and arrows, and in the Star Wars film, lightsabers linked the Jedi Knights to the Force. Find or create your own energy bar tool, EBT, in Focus 10, one that is personal enough to share your identity, and through which you can induce or gather focus and direct non-physical energies. To create and charge your EBT, charge your EBT card, you will extend a dot of light into a bar, turning it on and off as you allow the process to speed up until the bar is pulsing like a strobe. We're going to go over this at another time. But you can accomplish all of this, 43 pages of stuff. You can accomplish all of this good stuff by doing the gateway procedure, okay? By just sitting down and practicing listening to these audio files. I know it sounds really strange, right? And the sounds don't really sound like much. They sound like, I guess you would call white noise or pink noise, like that, different noises, okay? So, it's definitely worth doing. Now, I wanted to go over this first. Thank you and forgive me for taking you through this boring part, all right? And now this is the manual here that comes with out of body. Okay, these are more advanced, I guess you can say, audio files to listen to after you've gone through the gateway, so that you can practice having out of body experiences on a regular basis. All right. It's very important to read all of these tips. Now, the HemiSync library contains audio files that not only help you achieve the out-of-body state, there are audio files that will address every aspect of mental and physical activity, from focus and concentration, healing depression, breaking habits, breaking addictions, helping the physical organs of the heart, the lungs, the liver, all of the organs of the body. It's very incredible. Now, professional hypnotism manual. Now I'm going to go over this because, I'm a former student of the Hypnosis Motivational Institute here in California, and I've learned a lot at HMI that really complemented and augmented the information that I learned while studying at the EEG Institute in Woodland Hills when I was learning neurofeedback. Okay. So this is the manual for hypnosis and for the Hypnosis Motivational Institute. Here is the manual for relationship strategies. Okay, and I'm reading right now the soft back cover of these books. Your suggestibility and your sexuality. Your suggestibility is how you receive information, and your sexuality is how you transmit information out. Okay, and success is not an accident. Okay, and this is another very good book by Mr. Kappas about hypnosis. All right. So I'm going to be doing a gear shift in what I'm doing here at the BiomedRx Institute. I'm going to return to the Hypnosis Motivational Institute and complete my studies, because I am fascinated with hypnotherapy, and I'm getting a lot of opportunities to perform hypnotherapy and a lot of clients. I believe that it is a great thing to do, to combine the therapies of hypnotherapy with neurofeedback, especially with binaural beats, self-hypnosis. We can do a lot here with the mind. Now, what I wanted to go over with you guys is this. This is the Gateway Report, all right? This is the Gateway Report from the Department of the Army. All right, let me get this back down into the window so that you can see it a little bit better. All right. Approved for release in 2003. All right. Department of the Army. Okay. Now, I'm going to have this. I'm going to play this out for you. I mean, stick with me. Please don't be too bored. Because I think it's important. I really do. I think it's very important. Where are we? Now, now, just when I already set this up, give me a second, people, bear with me. I already set this up, and now it's not showing, and neither is my cursor, so it could be a matter of too much energy, too much computer resources being taken. This is a computer hog, I must admit. There we go. So yeah, here we are at the Monroe Institute, okay? I highly recommend going to the Monroe Institute YouTube page, okay? And let me see if I can't believe I have to actually free up some memory here, because I wanted you guys to see all of the things that I had bookmarked. How can we do this? How can we free up some information? We can close this. We can close that. This is what I wanted you guys to hear, okay? So now what's going on here is the actual reading of the report. This is the report that was done for the Department of Defense after the DoD sent military personnel to investigate the gateway process. All right.
2. Commander. 1. You tasked me to provide an assessment of the gateway experience in terms of its mechanics and ultimate practicality. As I set out to fulfill that tasking, it soon became clear that in order to assess the validity and practicality of the process, I needed to do enough supporting research and analysis to fully understand how and why the process works. Frankly, sir, that proved to be an extremely involved and difficult business. Initially, based on conversations with a physician who took the gateway training with me, I had recourse to the biomedical models developed by Itzhak Benda to obtain information concerning the physical aspects of the process. Then I found it necessary to delve into various sources for information concerning quantum mechanics in order to be able to describe the nature and functioning of human consciousness. I had to be able to construct a scientifically valid and reasonably lucid model of how consciousness functions under the influence of the brain hemisphere synchronization technique employed by Gateway. Once this was done, the next step involved recourse to theoretical physics in order to explain the character of the time-space dimension and the means by which expanded human consciousness transcends in achieving Gateway's objectives.
Fair use.
Finally, I again found it necessary to use physics to bring the whole phenomenon of out-of-body states into the language of physical science to remove the stigma of its occult connotations and put it in a frame of reference suited to objective assessment. 2. I began the narrative by briefly profiling the fundamental, biomedical factors affecting such related techniques as hypnosis, biofeedback, and transcendental meditation so that their objectives and mode of functioning could be compared in a reader's mind with the gateway experience as the model of its underlying mechanics was developed. Additionally, that introductory material is useful in supporting the conclusions of the paper. I indicate that at times these related techniques may provide useful entry points to accelerate movement into the gateway experience. 3. Niels Bohr, the renowned physicist, once responded to his son's complaints about the obtuse nature of certain concepts in physics by saying, "You are not thinking, you are merely being logical." The physics of altered human consciousness deals with some conceptualizations that are not easily grasped or visualized exclusively in the context of ordinary left-brain linear thinking. So, to borrow Dr. Bohr's mode of expression, parts of this paper will require not only logic but a touch of right-brain intuitive insight to achieve a complete comfortable grasp of the concepts involved. Nevertheless, once that is done, I am confident that their construction and application will stand up to the test of rational critique. 4. Paradoxically, having gone to such great lengths to avoid trying to render judgments based on an occult or dogmatic frame of reference in the end, I found it necessary to return, at least briefly, to the question of the impact of the gateway experience on common belief systems. I did so because although it was essential to avoid attempting to render an assessment in the context of such systems, I felt that it was necessary after having completed the analysis to point out that the resulting conclusions do not do any violence to the fundamental mainstream of either Eastern or Western belief systems. Unless that point is clearly established, the danger exists that some people will reject the whole concept of the gateway experience in the mistaken belief that it contradicts and is therefore alien to all that they hold to be right and true. 5. This study is certainly not designed to be the last word on the subject, but I hope that the validity of its basic structure and of the fundamental concepts upon which it is based will make it a useful guide for other USA and SCOM personnel who are required to take the gateway training or work with gateway materials. The gateway experience, brain hemisphere synchronization in perspective. 1. Introduction. In order to describe the Monroe Institute technique for achieving altered states of consciousness, the gateway experience, involving brain hemisphere synchronization or hemisync. The most effective way to begin is to briefly profile the basic mechanics which underlay operation of related methods such as hypnosis, transcendental meditation, and biofeedback. It is easiest to effectively describe what gateway is by beginning with a short description of those associated techniques that share some common aspects with the gateway experience, but which are nevertheless different. In this way we can develop a frame of reference at the outset which will provide useful concepts to explain and understand gateway by comparison, as we proceed. 2.
They insist on showing me this commercial.
Hypnosis. According to the theories of psychologist Ronald Stone and the biomedical engineering models of Itzhak Bentov, hypnosis is basically a technique which permits acquisition of direct access to the sensory motor cortex and pleasure centers, and lower cerebral, emotional, portions, and associated pleasure centers, of the right side of the human brain following successful disengagement of the stimulus screening function of the left hemisphere of the brain. The left hemisphere of the brain is the self-cognitive, verbal, and linear reasoning component of the mind. It fulfills the function of screening incoming stimuli by categorizing, assessing, and assigning meaning prior to allowing passage to the right hemisphere of the mind. The right hemisphere, which functions as the non-critical, holistic, non-verbal, and pattern-oriented component of the brain, appears to accept what the left hemisphere passes to it without question. Consequently, if the left hemisphere can be distracted either through boredom or through reduction to a soporific, semi-sleep state, external stimuli to include hypnotic suggestions are allowed to pass unchallenged into the right hemisphere where they are accepted and acted upon directly. The result may involve an emotional reaction originating in the lower cerebral region, sensory/motor responses requiring involvement in the cortex, and so on. Both the sensory and the motor cortices of the right cerebral portion of the brain contain a sequence of points known as the homunculus, which corresponds to points in the body. Stimulation of the corresponding area on the cortex causes intermediate response in the associated portion of the body. Consequently, induction of the suggestion that the left leg is numb, if it reaches the right hemisphere unchallenged and is referred to the appropriate area of the sensory cortex, will result in an electrical reaction being generated that will induce the feeling of numbness. Similarly, the suggestion that the person is experiencing a general feeling of happiness and well-being would be referred to the appropriate pleasure centers located in the lower cerebral portion or in the cortex of the right hemisphere, thereby inducing the suggested feeling of euphoria. Finally, suggestions such as one that informs the hypnotic subject that he enjoys enhanced concentration or powers of memory would be responded to in the right hemisphere by accessing unused information storage capacity normally held in reserve as a result of left hemisphere selection and control processes.
That's the
This
thought
aspect
process.
will become significant in the context of the gateway process when attention is given to examining the way that hypnosis may be used to accelerate progress in the early stages of the gateway experience. 3. Transcendental meditation. On the other hand, transcendental meditation works in a distinctly different fashion. In this technique, intense and protracted single-minded concentration on the process of drawing energy out of the spinal cord ultimately results in what appears to be creation of acoustical standing waves in the cerebral ventricles, which are then conducted to the gray matter in the cerebral cortex on the right side of the brain. As a result, according to Bentov, these waves will stimulate and eventually polarize the cortex in such a way that it will tend to conduct a signal along the homunculus, starting from the toes and on up. The Bentov biomedical model, as described in a book by Lisa Mella, MD, entitled Kundalini Psychosis or Transcendence, states that the standing acoustical waves are the result of the altered rhythm of heart sounds which are occasioned by prolonged practice of meditation, and which set up sympathetic vibrations in the walls of the fluid-filled cavities which comprise the third and lateral ventricles of the brain. In addition, according to Bento, the states of bliss described by those whose Kundalini symptoms have completed the full loop along the hemispheres may be explained as a self-stimulation of the pleasure centers in the brain caused by the circulation of a current along the sensory cortex.
Keep trying to show this shit, and I won't let it show.
Notes that most of the described symptoms start on the left side of the body means that it is mostly a development occurring in the right hemisphere. Although normally a period of meditation involving intense concentration and practice for 5 years or some is required to bring up the Kundalini, Bento states that exposure to mechanical or acoustical vibrations in the range of 4 to 7 Hz cycles per second for protracted periods may achieve the same effect. Bento cites as an example repeated riding in a car whose suspension and seat combination produce that range of vibrations or being exposed for long periods of time to these frequencies caused, for instance, by an air conditioning duct. He also notes that the cumulative effect of these vibrations may be able to trigger a spontaneous physio-kundalini sequence in susceptible people who have a particularly sensitive nervous system. 4. Biofeedback. The third consciousness-altering methodology, which will be briefly described as biofeedback. Biofeedback is somewhat unique in that it actually employs the self-cognitive powers of the left hemisphere to gain access to such areas of the right brain as the lower cerebral, motor and sensory cortices and assorted pain or pleasure centers. Instead of suppressing the left hemisphere as is done in hypnosis, or largely bypassing and ignoring it as is done in transcendental meditation, biofeedback teaches the left hemisphere first to visualize the desired result and then to recognize the feelings associated with the experience of successful right hemisphere access to the specific lower cerebral cortex, pain or pleasure or other areas in the manner needed to produce the desired result. Special self-monitoring devices such as the digital thermometer are used to inform the left brain when it succeeds in keying the right hemisphere into accessing the appropriate area. Once this is done, the left brain can then repeatedly instruct the right brain to re-establish the pathways involved so as to produce the same external, objective measures of success. In this way, the pathways are strengthened and emphasized to such an extent that left brain consciousness is enabled to access appropriate areas in the right brain using a conscious, demand mode. For example, if the subject wishes to increase the circulation in the left leg in order to speed up healing, he may concentrate with his left brain on achieving that result while carefully monitoring a digital thermometer connected to the left leg. When the concentrated effort begins to achieve success, the digital thermometer will register an increase in the temperature of the left leg. At that point, the subject can mentally, left brain, associate the sensations experienced with the result achieved and can begin to emphasize, by memory recall, the same process to cause its strengthening by affirmation and repetition. In this way, pain can be blocked, healing can be enhanced, malignant tumors can apparently be suppressed and ultimately destroyed, the body's pleasure centers can be stimulated, and a variety of specific physiological results may be achieved. In addition, biofeedback may be used to greatly accelerate achievement of deep meditative states, particularly for beginners who have no experience in meditative techniques and whose progress in that methodology is enhanced through effective visualization and external, objective affirmation. Display of the subject's brainwave pattern on a cathode ray tube has proven to be a laboratory-validated means by which subjects may quickly learn to place themselves in profoundly relaxed states characterized by the sort of quietude and singularity of mental focus associated with advanced meditation. 5. Gateway and Hemisync. Now that we have briefly profiled the basic mechanics of the principal techniques for altering or expanding consciousness which share some of the objectives and or methods employed in the gateway experience, we may proceed to focus on what the technique actually involves.
The same commercial, they keep trying to show it.
Fundamentally, the gateway experience is a training system designed to bring enhanced strength, focus and coherence to the amplitude and frequency of brainwave output between the left and right hemispheres so as to alter consciousness, moving it outside the physical sphere so as to ultimately escape even the restrictions of time and space. The participant then gains access to the various levels of intuitive knowledge which the universe offers. What differentiates the gateway experience from forms of meditation is its use of the hemisync technique, which is defined in a monograph by Monroe Institute trainer Melissa Jager as a state of consciousness defined when the beat patterns of both hemispheres are simultaneously equal in amplitude and frequency. Although hemisync seems to be rather rare and of only short duration in ordinary human consciousness, Melissa Jager states that audio techniques developed by Bob Monroe can induce and sustain hemisync with the Institute's basic Focus 3 tapes. She also notes that studies conducted by Elmer and Alice Green at the Menninger Foundation have shown that a subject with 20 years of training in Zen meditation could consistently establish hemisync at will, sustaining it for over 15 minutes.
This is my theory behind neurofeedback.
Research associate of the Monroe Institute reports that, in our studies of the effect of the Monroe tape system on brainwaves, we have found that the tapes encourage the focusing of brain energy. It can be measured as with a light bulb, in watts, into a narrower frequency band. This focusing of energy is not unlike the yoga concept of one-pointedness, which we may translate in Western terms as a single-mindedness. Dr. Twenlow goes on to observe that as the individual gets into the tapes beyond Focus 3, there is a gradual increase in brainwave size, which is a measure of brain energy or power. 6. Lamp versus laser. Melissa Jager uses a metaphor to help clarify the process involved in the use of hemisync in the gateway experience. She points out that the human mind in its natural state may be likened to an ordinary lamp which expends energy in the form of both heat and light, but in a chaotic, incoherent way which diffuses its energy over a wide area of rather limited depth. On the other hand, the human mind under the discipline of hemisync acts after the fashion of a laser beam which produces a disciplined stream of light. The stream of energy is projected with total coherence of both frequency and amplitude such that the surface area of a laser beam contains billions of times the concentrated energy found in a similar surface area on the Sun. Gateway assumes that once the frequency and amplitude of the human brain are rendered coherent, it is possible to begin accelerating both so that the human mind is soon resonating at ever higher vibrational levels. The mind can then bring itself into synchronization with more sophisticated and rarefied energy levels in the universe. The mind, when operating at these increasingly rarefied levels, is assumed to be capable of processing the information thus received through the same fundamental matrix by which it makes sense of ordinary physical sensory input to achieve meaning in a cognitive context. Such meaning is usually perceived visually in the form of symbols, but may also be perceived as astonishing flashes of holistic intuition, or even in the form of scenarios involving both visual and oral perception. The mechanics by which the mind exercises the consciousness function will be addressed in more detail later in this paper. 7. Frequency following response. To achieve synchronization of brain hemispheres, the hemisync technique takes advantage of a phenomenon known as the frequency following response, FFR, which means that if a subject hears a sound produced at a frequency which emulates one of those associated with the operation of the human brain, the brain will try to mimic the same frequency pattern by adjusting its brainwave output. Therefore, if the subject is in a fully awake state but hears sound frequencies which approximates brainwave output at the theta level, the subject's brain will endeavor to alter its brainwave pattern from the normal beta to the theta level. Since the theta level is associated with sleep, the subject concerned may progress from a fully awake to a sleep state, provided that he does not consciously resist, as the brain strives to entrain its wave frequency output with the one which the person hears. Since these brainwave frequencies are outside the spectrum of sounds which can be heard in pure form by the human ear, hemisync must produce them based on another phenomenon known as the brain's capacity for deducing beat frequencies. If the human brain is exposed to one frequency in the left ear which is 10 Hz below another audible frequency played in the right ear, rather than hearing either of the two audible frequencies, the brain chooses to hear the difference between them, the beat frequency. Thus, availing itself of the FFR phenomenon, and using the technique of beat frequencies, the gateway system uses hemisync and other audio techniques employing the FFR phenomenon to introduce a variety of frequencies which are played at a virtually subliminal, marginally audible level.
I hope this isn't too boring.
To relax the left hemisphere of the brain, place the physical body in a virtual sleep state, and bring the left and right hemispheres into coherence under conditions designed to promote the production of ever higher amplitude and frequency of brainwave output. Audible and perhaps subliminal suggestions by Bob Monroe accompany the various brainwave frequencies, which are sometimes rolled in together with other sounds such as sea surf to mask the sound frequencies where desirable. In this way, Gateway endeavors to provide the subject with the tools by which he may alter his consciousness based on his own volition over time through the repetitive use of the tape so as to access, via intuitive means, new categories of information not available to ordinary consciousness. 8. Role of resonance. However, brain coherence through entrainment to beat frequencies introduced via stereo headphones is only part of the reason why the gateway system works. It is also designed to achieve the physical quietude characteristic of deep transcendental meditative states, which brings about a complete alteration of the fundamental resonance pattern associated with the sound frequencies produced by the human body. Yoga, Zen, or transcendental meditation, if practiced long enough, will produce a change in the sound frequency with which the human heart resonates throughout the entire body.
The same commercial. I refuse to let it play.
According to Bentiv, this change in resonance results from elimination of what the medical profession calls the bifurcation echo, so that the sound of the heartbeat can move synchronously up and down the circulatory system in harmonious resonance approximately 7 times a second. Bentiv describes the role played by the bifurcation echo as follows: when the left ventricle of the heart ejects blood, the aorta, being elastic, balloons out just beyond the valve and causes a pressure pulse to travel down along the aorta. When the pressure pulse reaches the bifurcation in the lower abdomen, which is where the aorta forks in two to go into the legs, part of the pressure pulse rebounds and starts traveling up the aorta. If in the meantime the heart ejects more blood, and a new pressure pulse is traveling down, these two pressure points will eventually collide somewhere along the aorta and produce an interference pattern. By placing the body in a sleep-like state, the gateway tapes achieve the same goal as meditation in that it places the body in such a profoundly relaxed state that the bifurcation echo slowly fades away as the heart lessens the force and frequency with which it pushes blood into the aorta. The result is a regular, rhythmic sine wave pattern of sound which echoes throughout the body and rises up into the head in sustained resonance. The amplitude of this sine wave pattern, when measured with a sensitive, seismograph-type instrument, is about 3 times the average of the sound volume produced by the heart when it is operating normally. 9. Brain stimulation. Bentiv's biomedical model shows that this resonance is of considerable importance since it is directly transmitted to and impacts upon the brain. The resulting vibration is received and transmitted into the brain itself via the fluid-filled third and left ventricles located above the brain stem. An electromagnetic pulse is then generated which stimulates the brain to raise the amplitude and frequency of brainwave output, just as Dr. Twemlow observed in his research on the effects of the hemisync tapes. Also, the brain is contained in a tight membrane called the dura, which is, in turn, cushioned by a thin layer of fluid located between it and the skull. As the coherent resonance produced by the human heart in a state of profound relaxation reaches the fluid layer surrounding the brain, it sets up a rhythmic pattern in which the brain moves up and down approximately 0.005 to 0.010 millimeters in a continuous pattern. The self-reinforcing character of resonant behavior accounts for the body's ability to sustain this movement despite the minimal level of energy involved. In this way, the entire body, based on its own micromotion, functions as a tuned vibrational system which transfers energy in a range of between 6.8 and 7.5 Hz into the Earth's ionospheric cavity, which itself resonates at about 7 to 7.5 Hz. Of this process, Bentiv states, this is occurring at a very long wavelength of about 40,000 km, or just about the perimeter of the planet. In other words, the signal from the movement of our bodies will travel around the world in about 1/7 of a second through the electrostatic field in which we are embedded. Such a long wavelength knows no obstacles, and its strength does not attenuate much over large distances. Naturally, it will go through just about anything: metal, concrete, water, and the fields making up our bodies. It is the ideal medium for conveying a telepathic signal. Consequently, the gateway process is designed to rather rapidly induce a state of profound calm within the nervous system and to significantly lower blood pressure to cause the circulatory system, skeleton and all other physical organ systems to begin vibrating coherently at approximately 7 to 7.5 cycles per second. The resulting resonance sets up a regular, repetitive sound wave which propagates in consonance with the electrostatic field of the Earth. 10. Energy entrainment. As the body is turned into a coherent oscillator vibrating in harmony with the surrounding electrostatic medium, the specific exercises included in the gateway tapes enjoin the participant to build up the energy field surrounding his body, presumably by using energy from the Earth's field which the body is now entraining because of its ability to resonate with it. This puts the body's energy field into homogeneity with its surrounding environment and promotes movement of the seat of consciousness into the surrounding environment, partly in response to the fact that the two electromagnetic medians are now a single energy continuum.
Ghost.
Thus,
Becoming a ghost.
moves the brain into focused coherence at steadily higher levels of frequency and amplitude so as to entrain analogous frequencies in the universe for data collection. Also promotes enhancement of bodily energy levels to a point adequate to permit the subject to experience an out-of-body movement when he is ready to do so. More will be said about this topic later. In addition, by resonating with the Earth's electromagnetic sphere, the human body creates a surprisingly powerful carrier wave to assist the mind in communication activity with other human minds similarly tuned.
Very, very good. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope it wasn't too boring. I could have read it to you because I have the PDF here, but I figured since they had the machine reading it to you, I might as well allow it to continue reading it.
McDonald described the Gateway experience as a training system designed to bring enhanced strength, focus.
Let's listen to this video.
The report entitled Analysis and Assessment of the Gateway Process was penned in 1983 by U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Wayne M. McDonald. McDonald described the Gateway experience as a training system designed to bring enhanced strength, focus, and coherence to the amplitude and frequency of brainwave output between left and right hemispheres, so as to alter consciousness, moving it outside the physical space so as to ultimately escape even the restrictions of time and space. In simpler terms, the Gateway experience uses sound to manipulate brainwaves with the goal of creating an altered state of consciousness in which a person can interact with non-physical aspects of reality. Practical uses of the technique, according to the CIA report, include manifesting goals, converting energy to heal one's body, and even traveling across space and time to access new information. The report was quietly declassified by the CIA in 2003 and largely went unnoticed.
Except by me. More commercials. More commercials. I don't know why they want me to see that commercial.
1. Introduction. In order to describe the Monroe Institute technique for achieving altered states of consciousness, the Gateway experience, involving brain hemisphere synchronization or
Fair use.
the most effective way to begin is to briefly profile the basic mechanics which underlay operation of related methods such as hypnosis, transcendental meditation, and biofeedback. It is easiest to effectively describe what Gateway is by beginning with a short description of those associated techniques that share some common aspects with the Gateway experience, but which are nevertheless different. In this way, we can develop a frame of reference at the outset, which will provide useful concepts to explain and understand Gateway by comparison as we proceed. 5. Gateway and Hemisync. Fundamentally, the Gateway experience is a training system designed to bring enhanced strength, focus, and coherence to the amplitude and frequency of brainwave output between the left and right hemispheres, so as to alter consciousness, moving it outside the physical sphere so as to ultimately escape even the restrictions of time and space. The participant then gains access to the various levels of intuitive knowledge which the universe offers. What differentiates the Gateway experience from forms of meditation is its use of the Hemisync technique, which is defined in a monograph by Monroe Institute trainer Melissa Jager as a state of consciousness defined when the EEG patterns of both hemispheres are simultaneously equal in amplitude and frequency. Although hemisync seems to
Synchrony.
be rather rare and of only short duration in ordinary human consciousness, Melissa Jaeger states that audio techniques developed by Bob Monroe can induce and sustain hemisync with the Institute's basic Focus 3 tapes. She also notes that studies conducted by Elmer and Alice Green at the Henniger Foundation have shown that a subject with 20 years of training in Zen meditation could consistently establish hemisync at will, sustaining it for over 15 minutes.
This is important because I believe that my study, my practice of neurofeedback, I've got thousands of hours on my own head in training the synchronization of the left and right hemispheres of my brain. And right now, I'm at a state of full shift, which is to say, I've not only accomplished the shift in brainwave function through the repetitive, close interval, long training of my brain, but now I'm able to trigger consistently at 50 hertz, regardless of where on my scalp, where on my neocortex I'm actually training. So I can sync my left and right hemispheres successfully at 50 hertz, regardless of where I put the probes on my head. That's important.
Dr. Stuart Twemlow, a psychiatrist and research associate of the Monroe Institute, reports, in our studies of the effect of the Monroe tape system on brainwaves, we have found that the tapes encourage the focusing of brain energy. It can be measured, as with a light bulb, in watts, into a narrower and narrower frequency band. The focusing of energy is not unlike the yoga concept of one-pointedness, which we may translate in Western terms as single-mindedness. Dr. Twemlow goes on to observe that as the individual gets into the tapes beyond Focus 3, there is a gradual increase in brainwave size, which is a measure of brain energy or power.
This is the first step along your path to a gateway beyond which is discovery, your own discovery of reality, of truth, of who and what you are. Because of the special audio techniques used, it's important that
Fair use.
reach your right ear and others your left ear. To be sure of this, you should be hearing my voice in your right ear at this moment. If you are not hearing my voice in your right ear, turn your headphones around now so that you are hearing my voice in your right ear.
Pretty intense, huh? That damn commercial.
6. Lamp versus laser. Melissa Jaeger uses a metaphor to help clarify the process involved in the use of hemisync in the gateway experience. She points out that the human mind in its natural state may be likened to an ordinary lamp, which expands energy in the form of both heat and light, but in a chaotic, incoherent way, which diffuses its energy over a wide area of rather limited depth. On the other hand, the human mind under the discipline of hemisync acts in the fashion of a laser beam, which produces a disciplined stream of light. The stream of energy is projected with total coherence of both frequency and amplitude, such that the surface area of a laser beam contains billions of times the concentrated energy found in a similar surface area on the sun. Gateway assumes that once the frequency and amplitude of the human brain are rendered coherent, it is possible to begin accelerating both, so that the human mind is soon resonating at ever higher vibrational levels. The mind can then bring itself into synchronization with more sophisticated and rarefied energy levels in the universe. The mind, when operating at these increasingly rarefied levels, is assumed to be capable of processing the information thus received through the same fundamental matrix by which it makes sense of ordinary physical sensory input to achieve meaning in a cognitive context. Such meaning is usually perceived visually in the form of symbols, but may also be perceived as astonishing flashes of holistic intuition, or even in the form of scenarios involving both visual and oral perception. The mechanics by which the mind exercises the consciousness function will be addressed in more detail later in this paper. 7. Frequency following response. To achieve synchronization of brain hemispheres, the hemisync technique takes advantage of a phenomenon known as the frequency following response, FFR, which means that if a subject hears a sound produced at a frequency which emulates one of those associated with the operation of the human brain, the brain will try to mimic the same frequency pattern by adjusting its brainwave output. Therefore, if the subject is in a fully awake state but hears sound frequencies which approximate brainwave output at the theta level, the subject's brain will endeavor to alter its brainwave pattern from the normal beta to the theta level. Since the theta level is associated with sleep, the subject concerned may progress from a fully awake to a sleep state, providing that he does not consciously resist, as the brain strives to entrain its wave frequency output with one which the person hears. Since these brainwave frequencies are outside of the spectrum of sounds which can be heard in pure form by the human ear, hemisync must produce them based on another phenomenon known as the brain's capacity for producing beat frequencies. If the human brain is exposed to one frequency in the left ear, which is 10 hertz below another audible frequency played in the right ear, rather than hearing either of the two audible frequencies, the brain chooses to hear the difference between them, the beat frequency. Thus, availing itself of the FFR phenomenon and using the technique of beat frequencies, the gateway system uses hemisync and other audio techniques employing the FFR phenomenon to introduce a variety of frequencies which are played at a virtually subliminal, marginally audible level. The objective is to relax the left hemisphere of the brain, place the physical body in a virtual sleep state, and bring the left and right hemispheres into coherence, under conditions designed to promote the production of ever higher amplitude and frequency of brainwave output. Audible and perhaps subliminal suggestions by Bob Monroe accompany the various brainwave frequencies, which are sometimes rolled in together with other sounds, such as sea surf, to mask the sound frequencies where desirable. In this way, Gateway endeavors to provide the subject with the tools by which he may alter his consciousness based on his own volition over time through the repetitive use of the tapes, so as to access, via intuitive means, new categories of information not available to ordinary consciousness.
Couldn't have been said better. And this is absolutely the way it works. This is the way it works. And
8. Role of resonance. However, brain coherence through entrainment to beat frequencies introduced via stereo headphones is only part of the reason why the gateway system works. It is also designed to achieve the physical quietude characteristic of deep transcendental meditative states, which bring about a complete alteration of the fundamental resonance pattern associated with the sound frequencies produced by the human body. Yoga, Zen, or transcendental meditation, if practiced long enough, will produce a change in the sound frequency with which the human heart resonates throughout the entire body. According to Bentov, this change in resonance results from the elimination of what the medical profession calls the bifurcation echo, so that the sound of the heartbeat can move synchronously up and down the circulatory system in harmonious resonance approximately 7 times a second. Bentov describes the role played by the bifurcation echo as follows. When the left ventricle of the heart ejects blood, the aorta, being elastic, balloons out just beyond the valve and causes a pressure pulse to travel down along the aorta. When the pressure pulse reaches the bifurcation in the lower abdomen, which is where the aorta forks in two to go into the legs, part of the pressure pulse rebounds and starts traveling up the aorta. If in the meantime the heart ejects more blood and a new pressure pulse is traveling down, these two pressure points will eventually collide somewhere along the aorta and produce an interference pattern. By placing the body in a sleep-like state, the gateway tapes achieve the same goal as meditation, in that it places the body in such a profoundly relaxed state that the bifurcation echo slowly fades away as the heart lessens the force and frequency with which it pushes blood into the aorta. The result is a regular, rhythmic sine wave pattern of sound, which echoes throughout the body and rises up into the head in sustained resonance. The amplitude of this sine wave pattern when measured with a sensitive seismograph type instrument is about 3 times the average of the sound volume produced by the heart when it is operating normally. 9. Brain stimulation. Bentov's biomedical model shows that this resonance is of considerable importance since it is directly transmitted to and impacts upon the brain. The resulting vibration is received and transmitted into the brain itself via the fluid-filled third and left ventricles located above the brainstem. An electromagnetic pulse is then generated, which stimulates the brain to raise the amplitude and frequency of brainwave output, just as Dr. Twenlow observed in his research on the effects of the hemisync tapes. Also, the brain is contained in a tight membrane called the dura, which is, in turn, cushioned by a thin layer of fluid located between it and the skull. As the coherent resonance produced by the human heart in a state of profound relaxation reaches the fluid layer surrounding the brain, it sets up a rhythmic pattern in which the brain moves up and down, approximately 0.005 to 0.01 millimeters in a continuous pattern. The self-reinforcing character of resonant behavior accounts for the body's ability to sustain this movement despite the minimal level of energy involved. In this way, the entire body, based on its own micromotion, functions as a tuned vibrational system which transfers energy in a range between 6.8 and 7.5 Hz into the Earth's ionospheric cavity, which itself resonates at about 7 to 7.5 Hz. Of this process, Bentov states, this is occurring at a very long wavelength of about 40,000 kilometers, or just above the perimeter of the planet. In other words, the signal from the movement of our bodies will travel around the world in about 1/7 of a second through the electrostatic field in which we are embedded. Such a long wavelength knows no obstacles, and its strength does not attenuate much over large distances. Naturally, it will go through just about anything: metal, concrete, water, and the fields making up our bodies. It is the ideal medium for conveying a telepathic signal. Consequently, the gateway process is designed to rather rapidly induce a state of profound calm within the nervous system, and to significantly lower blood pressure, to cause the circulatory system, skeleton, and all other physical organ systems to begin vibrating coherently at approximately 7 to 7.5 cycles per second. The resulting resonance sets up a regular, repetitive sound wave which propagates in consonance with the electrostatic field of the Earth. 10. Energy entrainment. As the body is tuned into a coherent oscillator vibrating in harmony with the surrounding electrostatic medium, the specific exercises included in the gateway tapes enjoin the participant to build up the energy field surrounding his body, presumably by using energy from the Earth's field, which the body is now entraining because of its ability to resonate with it. This puts the body's energy field into homogeneity with its surrounding environment and promotes movement of the seat of consciousness into the surrounding environment.
That's right.
In response to the fact that the two electromagnetic medians are now a single energy continuum. Thus, the same process which moves the brain into focused coherence at steadily higher levels of frequency and amplitude, so as to entrain analogous frequencies in the universe for data collection, also promotes the enhancement of bodily energy levels to a point adequate to permit the subject to experience an out-of-body movement when he is ready to do so. In addition, by resonating with the Earth's electromagnetic sphere, the human body creates a surprisingly powerful carrier wave to assist the mind in communication activity with other human minds similarly tuned.
You see that? We're talking about telepathy and telekinesis. Pretty intense, right? And, you know, I'm going through all of this. I know it's been an hour now. I know this has been a long video so far. And the reason I'm going through all of this, fair use, by the way, fair use. The reason I'm going through all of this is because I want you guys to understand that these states can be reached, that you can put yourself in synchrony with the frequency of the Earth, right? The resonance of the Earth, or the frequency of the Earth. And let me change back to my other screen, because we're not going to talk about this today. We're going to talk about this next time. We're going to get into this next time. All right. Back to the live music. So what I was saying is that it's important that you guys understand that these things can be accomplished without the use of drugs. In fact, if you are a brain trainer, such as myself, you're going to find that you have an aversion to the use of drugs and alcohol and other mind-altering substances, including caffeine, because you enjoy the purity of your being. You enjoy the rawness of your brain. It's very important. I sauna every day. I swim every day. I take my supplements every day. I train my brain every day. I do ionic biomagnetic pair therapy to myself at least once a week. I'm going to do it right now because here it is Wednesday and I haven't done it to myself yet. And my son's going to be here in about an hour. And these things purify the body. So there's really no sense. It makes no sense to pollute your body with drugs if you're going to actually try to accomplish these things. Now, on the subject of drugs, many people talk about, and this, I'm going to go into this in the future video. You see the title I already put in the next video. I already put in the title of this DMT Entities and dimethyltryptamine and stuff like that. My ultimate objective is not only to be able to be a master of the world once you enable yourself to assume the frequency of the planet Earth, right? And other human beings that are so tuned, then you will be sharing knowledge from the Earth with other human beings all around the planet. It's called the thought bubble, and it really does work. I mean, it really is real. The thought bubble really is real. But I want to expand beyond that because I hear a lot from Joe Rogan and from a lot of other people about the wonders of dimethyltryptamine. I've done drugs before, various drugs, but I've never done dimethyltryptamine. I've never done DMT. And a lot of people talk about ayahuasca or smoking frogs or whatever they do to acquire some DMT. A lot of people talk about taking hits of DMT and actually getting out into the universe and meeting DMT entities and ayahuasca. A lot of the shaman in Peru that guide you through your trip with ayahuasca believe that what you are experiencing in the DMT realm is actually the afterlife, which is why there is a common experience between many people, and people consistently talk about the various types of DMT entities that one encounters when under the influence of DMT. And I am on the quest to try to encounter these entities and to reach these states without drugs, without any drugs. Now, if it doesn't work, maybe down the road I'll take a trip to Peru and meet a shaman and try it that way. But if I can do it the clean and pure way, if I can do it simply with energy and electronics, right, which is what I do, then I'm definitely going to try to do it that way. So I invite you to come along with me on this journey. That's what I'm talking about right now. I'm inviting you to come with me on this journey. If you would like to contact me, you can send me an email at info@devinlockett.com or info@devinlockett.tv. You can also send me an email at info@biomedrx.com, biomedrx.com, just like you see right here, right? And info@biomedrx.tv. By the way, remember to drop some money in BiomedRx PayPal. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notification of new videos, comment, and share the videos, right? All of that good stuff. But yeah, send me an email if there's anything you'd like me to discuss or anything you'd like me to make a video about. Send me an email to the email addresses that I just gave you. They're also going to be scrolling on the screen at the very end of the show. And I think that's about it. It's been about an hour, I've killed with you guys. Not really wanting to beat a dead horse. I'm going to go into even if I have to go through acquiring some DMT in order to go through the DMT realm, I do believe that having practiced the gateway will probably make it easier or more effective to navigate through the DMT realm, even with the assistance of DMT. I'm sure that a well-trained brain would handle that experience better than a brain that's not been well-trained. And I'm also pretty sure, because of my own anecdotal experience, that the thousands of hours of neurofeedback therapy and training that I have already done to my brain, and the thousands of hours of audiovisual brain entrainment, as well as cranial electrotherapy stimulation, CES, will also help me to be more effective at the gateway process. You see, so this all goes together. And according to the Monroe Institute and the Department of Defense, going through the process of meditation and deliberate synchrony of the hemispheres of the brain does make one more adept, or does give one an advantage, if you will, when it comes to achieving the higher focus levels that are required in order to accomplish the hemisync process. So ride with me, you will enjoy it. If you'd like to get a copy, well, you have to purchase your own copy of Gateway, but you can go to the Monroe Institute, or you can look it up. I believe the Gateway Experience audio cassettes or audio files are available for purchase on Amazon.com. So I'd like to suggest that you go ahead and do that and find it. Yeah. So we are going to be tripping here in the near future, and I really appreciate you guys joining me. I'm not going to keep you guys any longer than I absolutely have to, but I want everyone to stay kind, as always, because kind is not only the new sexy, kind is the only sexy, always has been and always will be. I want everyone to stay blessed, and I want everyone to stay healthy. All right? Take care. I love you, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.
Gold label quality BiomedRx CBD oil is made from organic hemp that is locally grown, glyphosate-free, gluten-free, non-GMO, homogenized, third-party tested, and CO2 extracted. Visit www.biomedrxcbd.com.
BiomedRx Optimum Woman is the only woman's high-potency full-spectrum multiple vitamin supplement to contain 56 nutrients, including those most important for today's woman, such as calcium for bone health, iron for healthy red blood cells, beta-carotene, biotin for nail and hair health, gamma-linoleic acid from evening primrose oil, octasanol, grapeseed extract, a potent antioxidant important for maintaining capillary strength, and vegetarian digestive enzymes. Visit www.biomedrxsupplements.com.